Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Richard Keck. And today we're going to do the preseason rankings for the Losers Dynasty League. Odd name for a fantasy football league, but it is what it is. That's what the league's name is. So we're going to do the preseason rankings. There's 12 teams in this roster. Players were auctioned off, and so everybody had a shot at any player that they wanted. So we have 12 teams. We're going to rank them, counting them back from 12 to 1, taking into account like depth. As you know, we've already had quite a few injuries already. So the rankings and my write-up was all done prior to several of those injuries, which some occurred even today. So things may not quite line up when you hear the names come out, but definitely they were at the time when I wrote them. Try to adjust them maybe a little bit on the fly as we go. So we're going to start right off the get-go with team number 12. This league is very balanced. Even the bottom team on the 12 is not a bad team. There's really not a bad team in here, and for a team that had an auction, everybody did a pretty good job of going out and getting the players they wanted and putting together a legitimate lineup. So just because somebody might be ranked 10, 11, 12 doesn't mean I don't think they can't win this league, because the league is pretty balanced. Even the teams at the top, there's not much that separates them from the others as well. So team number 12 is Upton F'd You Up. We got them ranked 12. And mainly the reason for them being 12 is because they tied up so much money into the quarterback position. Yeah, they went out and got Patrick Mahomes at $43, but then they went out and got another 25 and threw it on to Lamar Jackson. And in doing so, that strapped them cash-wise in order to get some of those other players that they might have wanted to get to fill up other positions. Definitely nothing wrong with going out and getting a solid backup. Definitely nothing wrong with having Lamar Jackson as your backup. With injuries going down, anything could happen. The rest of their roster is not even a bad roster. It's just it definitely left them on the shorter end of the cap in having money to be able to go out and grab some of those other players. At the running back position, this is where it seems to have hurt the team the most. Damien Harris seems to be the one young bright spot for the future. Maybe a little Leonard Fournette also. Both those guys are younger in age, but neither one of them have that star power, that star quality that you're looking for to as your RB1. But they'll suffice. He's also got David Johnson on the roster, another guy that might get some playing time on this team week in, week out. Wide receiver wise, injury to T.Y. Hilton just happened today, so that definitely takes a hit for the team. DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, probably your top two guys on the roster. Maybe Robert Woods also in there. Now I've seen that. So got some wide receivers in Cooks, DJ Moore, Robert Woods, and then you've got some good backups: Mike Williams, Devontae Parker, Jamison Crowder. So that's where this team is actually a little stronger. The running backs are a little weaker. But you got some running backs might play a 1-back-4 receiver set more often than not with this roster. And then, like I said, only one of those quarterbacks going to be used. So, week in, week out, barring an injury, Lamar Jackson is just going to basically sit on a bench every week. Tight end wise, probably roll with Logan Thomas. He's tight end round 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. So, team is not terrible. Like I said, for a 12 team, you would think it'd be a little. Maybe not as good as even what you're hearing, but it's a pretty good roster. And the Upton F'd You Up comes in at our number 12. Looking at our list here, the number 11 spot is Wiggy Wiggy, and I believe that's Wiggins' team, obviously. And Wiggins comes in with a couple of older quarterbacks plus Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's obviously his guy for the future, but he also added Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger, guys that don't have a lot left in the tank. Although for this year, Tom Brady is probably a top 2, top 3 quarterback. There's not much in the way in the NFC stopping the Buccaneers from making the Super Bowl again, outside of maybe the Packers, maybe the Rams. Other than that, everybody else is more of a long shot. So, expect another good year from Tom Brady. He's got all his weapons back. He also doesn't have that 5-week growing period that he had last year when he was trying to figure it out. He's got everybody back, and I expect them to boom right out of the gate. Running back spots for the Wiggy Wiggy team, they got Saquon Barkley. If that guy can ever stay healthy, this would be a heck of a roster, a heck of a player for Wiggy Wiggy. I don't have a lot of faith in him. You go look back, he just doesn't hold up. We're into the preseason. He hasn't went down yet, so I guess that's a plus. But if he's healthy, he's one of the best backs there is. But it's just whether or not you believe he can actually stay healthy. Other backs to note on the roster: Kenyon Drake, going to be splitting time with Jacobs in Las Vegas. Got Devin Singletary splitting time with Moss. Nothing wrong with a split back, but nothing to write home to mother about outside of Saquon Barkley. Again, another team that has a little better options at the wide receiver position, and their top wide receiver is Allen Robinson, but he's got a whole bunch of other ones that are definitely worth playing, guys that could be really good. Jamar Chase is the guy he spent the most money on the receiving core, and if he pans out, he could be amazing, but until he does, we don't really know the full extent of how good he is. But he's got plenty of options. This is another team that's probably going to go 1 back 4 receivers more often than not. Tyler Boyd, G.J. Chark, Gabriel Davis, Will Fuller, Terrence Marshall, who I absolutely love. I think Terrence Marshall is going to be good down the road, and Curtis Samuel, all good receivers to note. Guys that definitely are going to get their share of the targets, and should help this team win some games. Again, another team you wouldn't think be ranked so low. He thinks he's probably number 1 and probably going to be very disappointed with his ranking on here. So I can't wait to hear from him. Tight end wise, Evan Ingram's another guy went down today. So I don't know the extent of that injury, but he definitely took a hit there by losing him. Might be Gronkowski or Sanu, Jonnu Smith, not Sanu, that he's rolling out every week at tight end. So not super strong at that position. A little weak at the running back position. God forbid Barkley goes down, this team would be in a lot of trouble. So our number 11 team, Wiggy Wiggy, coming in at the 11th spot. The number 10 spot. Some of the team names in here are absolutely crazy. I believe it's called Bergy's wife. Bergy's wife can sit on my face. So is the name of this team, coming in at the 10th spot. Only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Kyler Murray is clearly the starter, probably the 3rd best quarterback in the rankings, behind maybe Josh Allen and Mahomes. The other quarterback on the roster is Mac Jones, who for now isn't the starter, but Kyler Murray's bye week isn't until week 12. So plenty of time to A, acquire another one, or B, Mac Jones takes over for Cam Newton. So nothing to worry about for quite some time anyway on there. Definitely Kyler Murray is going to be the guy every week for this roster. Running backs, it's a little stronger, but before this rankings came out, the injury hadn't happened to Travis Etienne. So losing him definitely hurts this roster a little bit. He has Nick Chubb, has rookie Javonte Williams. Raheem Mostert for now is the guy. James Conner's probably in a timeshare as well. So has options on the roster. But the injury to Etienne definitely is going to hurt a little bit. I expected really big things from him. He's not a guy you're going to cut. You're going to stick him on your injured reserve and hope he bounces back next year. This is a dynasty league, so not somebody you're going to cut. You're going to hold on to him. So remember that. Wide receivers, again, this team did very well at that wide receiver position. There's got to be some teams down the road that are a little weaker at the wide receiver position, but DK Metcalf, who I consider a top 3 dynasty receiver overall. Kenny Galladay, hopefully can bounce back in New York. Cortland Sutton needs to bounce back from that injury last year. Antonio Brown, any part of that Tampa Bay offense is probably going to thrive this year. So some good wide receivers, even some good bench guys, and Marvin Jones, Denzel Mims. So good at the wide receiver position. Took a couple of, little hits, got a couple timeshare guys. Nick Chubb is obviously the anchor at the running back spot. And then at losing at tight end today, yesterday even was Irv Smith went down. Again, another guy, we don't know the extent of the injury. And Hunter Henry hasn't been healthy, so it might be Hayden Hurst. So that could be a definite spot of weakness for the team, is at the tight end spot, losing Irv Smith Jr. Excuse me. So coming in at the 10 spot is Bergy's wife can sit on my face. And at number 9, we have Back That Pass Up, which is our commissioner, Mr. Dillon. And he has Dak Prescott as his starting quarterback, which is really nice. Assuming he bounces back from his injury. He's been, sitting out. If you're watching the show on HBO there, he's been sitting out most of the camp, not doing much. So we need to know whether or not he's healthy or not. If not, he's perfectly fine. He's got Matt Ryan, Sam Darnold. Definitely they'll carry him the entire year. Nothing to worry about in that regard. The running back position looks really nice for this roster. This is one of them teams where the running backs look good. And Chris Carson, definitely, I think is going to have an awesome year this year. Chase Edmonds is the primary ball carrier for the Arizona Cardinals, definitely in that split with Connor. Josh Jacobs, again, the primary ball carrier in the split with Kenyon Drake. But still, you've got the primary guys and not the secondary guys. Joe Mixon, I think Joe Mixon's about to have probably his best year, especially coming off that injury. I think he's healthy, he's ready to go. Trey Sermon's on this roster. If he doesn't take over this year for Mozart, that's coming. He'll get a timeshare, and his time's coming. And probably Tony Pollard might be the best backup in the entire league. If that guy ever gets a chance to play, if Elliott were to go down, we'd see just how good Tony Pollard is. So a lot of good running backs on this team. Where they're a little weaker is at that wide receiver position, and they lack that star power that some of the other guys lacked at the running back spot. Best receivers, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's great in his own right, but he's still a number 2. And when your best guy is still the number 2, you definitely are a little softer at that position, which is understandable when you're strong at running back like he is. But he's got plenty of guys you can play as options. And in fact, a couple of injuries, you might have even got a little better. Chase Claypool also was an injury that got hurt today. I don't know the extent of his injury. And he has Juju Smith-Schuster on his roster. If Juju all of a sudden becomes a number 2 or plays like he did, in his rookie year, Juju definitely has that ability to be a much better wide receiver than he's shown as of late. Darnell Mooney, Michael Gallup, Amari Rodgers, maybe even a couple other guys that he has definitely have potential to get some playing time on this roster, but it's definitely, as you can see, a little weaker than he is at running back. So his main couple guys are going to be Juju and Chris Godwin. And then after that, it's just going to be maybe some plug and plays and some fill-in guys. So tight end position, he has Noah Fant, top 5, top 6 guy. Got Mike Gesicki, he's right in there, 6, 7, 8. So okay at that position, perfectly fine with either one of those guys as your starter. Like I said, the weakest spot very might well be the wide receiver, where some of the other teams were strong at the receiver spot. This one, you got to be weak somewhere. So everybody's got to have that little soft spot. So coming in at number 9 is Back That Pass Up, Dillon Bergy. The number 8 team in the league is, finding these guys on here with weird names is crazy. Welcome to the D. Looks like Lucas Shutt. And he's definitely got a couple of young quarterbacks in Carson Wentz. Hopefully we'll know if Carson's going to play in week 1. For a while, it looked like he was going to miss quite a bit of some time. Now he may not. So a lot of things are up in the air. And Trevor Lawrence will have to be the starter. And it's kind of scary when you got to start a rookie right off the get-go. So, definitely Trevor Lawrence would be a nice 2. Not so sure he's a great 1. So at least not yet. I have Trevor Lawrence in quite a few leagues, and I love the guy. I think he's going to be really good. I just don't know if he is going to be that guy week 1 of the 2021 season. Tyrod Taylor is the other one on there. And we all know what Tyrod is and what Tyrod isn't. So, you have that. So he's definitely got some issues at the quarterback position. I think they'll work themselves out, but early on, it could be a problem. At running back, again, these rankings were all done ahead of time. He lost one of his studs. He has Christian McCaffrey, who's worth 2 running backs compared to almost everybody else in the league. He's coming off an injury, but still, there's not any one of us in this league that don't think he's the number 1 running back in the league and wouldn't take him with the 1-1 pick. Cost $56, which honestly, I was shocked that he actually went that cheap. I thought that was actually kind of a bargain. I expected him to go in the 60, maybe pushing 70 range. So he got a good deal at $56 for him. But he lost J.K. Dobbins, and he is out for the year. So, again, you're not going to cut these guys because they will come back. This is a dynasty league. You'll stick them on the injury reserve, try to pick somebody else up off the waiver wire, and, and try to get by that way. There's not a lot here beyond those two, except for maybe Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon for now is the starter, splitting time with that rookie. But other than that, there's not a lot on here worth mentioning. So he's definitely, while also struggling at quarterback, now the loss of Dobbins means he's struggling a little bit at the running back position as well. But when you have Christian McCaffrey, as long as that guy can stay healthy, he should be fine at that position. Wide receivers, a couple of really nice wide receivers in Stephon Diggs and Julio Jones. Those will be the 2 guys that stand out. After that, it's plug and play guys. So that with the loss of Dobbins, you definitely have a depth issue with this roster. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Valdez Scantling, just not a whole lot to be excited about on the roster. But you'll still put up a good lineup, and anytime you have Christian McCaffrey, you're in the game. So, this team would definitely, if I was redoing the rankings, would have slid a little bit lower than some of these other ones. But I did these rankings probably about a week ago, and we've had some injuries since then that would have adjusted them. But I don't have time to go and do all the research and move everybody around. So we're just going to roll with them as what they are at the moment. So tight end, we have Robert Tonyan. Had 14 touchdowns last year. I think it was 12 touchdowns. He is very touchdown dependent, but Rodgers is playing with a chip on his shoulder, so I don't see any reason he doesn't put up 10 touchdowns again. So definitely okay with that guy as your tight end spot. So that is definitely the number 8 spot. Welcome to the D. And the number 7 spot belongs to I'm Coming Out. Be nice if you guys had names next to your thing so I know who these are, but I'm Coming Out. Has a couple really young quarterbacks in Burrow and Herbert, loaded at that position. Jimmy Garoppolo's the 3rd, but he won't be around much longer. Again, another team that's took an injury this year at the running back spot, losing Cam Akers for the year, and that really crippled the running back position for them. However, the loss of Travis Etienne to an earlier team we mentioned there helped the I'm Coming Out team, as they have James Robinson now. So lose Cam Akers, but now James Robinson becomes more of an RB1 for you, as before he would have, maybe been an RB2, RB3 even. So now that definitely helped him out there. And James Robinson now becomes the best running back on this roster, with Cam Akers going to injured reserve. Again, don't cut these guys out. I keep saying that just because I want to remind you guys that this isn't your standard redraft league. Don't want anybody cutting those guys that you're going to regret cutting later, because there's some of us that'll scoop those guys up and just throw them on injury reserve with a quickness. So do not cut them. Nyheim Hines might be a nice play this year. Definitely a PPR back. Might play a little slot receiver for the Colts. And Philip Lindsay, same thing, might get some play time for Houston. Lindsay might even be the starter for Houston, but I want no part of that Houston team if it isn't Brandon Cooks, if I can avoid it. But when you're desperate and you lose Cam Akers, Philip Lindsay becomes a lot more attractive. So he definitely slid up the board for him a little bit. Other than that, not much to be excited about. We'll move on to the wide receivers, where it's definitely very, very exciting. Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, and Keenan Allen, top 3 guys on the board. Outside of that, they've got some other guys plug and play, but clearly those are the studs. And, especially Jefferson and Calvin Ridley, as far as dynasty receivers go, I think they're both listed in the top 5, maybe even the top 3 overall for their going up the board as far as dynasty value. So nice to have those. Got pretty decent value on them, 31 and 28 for Jefferson and Ridley. Keenan Allen, 23, nice value there as well. So definitely really good receivers. Had that Cam Akers injury not happen, this team would probably climb a lot further up the board than what I expect they're going to this year. But nice team overall. And that is our number 7 team, the I'm Coming Out team. We cracked the top 6 with Show Me the Money. And that is Jared Barton. His quarterback of the future is Trey Lance. How far in the future, we don't know. Not an issue for this team, as they had Kirk Cousins and Derrick Henry to get him by until then. So either one of those is great. Wait till Trey Lance comes and does his thing and shows his stuff. So perfectly fine with any of those 3 as your starter week in and week out. The sooner Trey Lance becomes relevant, the stronger this roster becomes. At running back, team would have definitely take another jump up as a result of the injuries, because he has Gus Edwards on his roster, probably the new starting running back for the Baltimore Ravens, to go with David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift. AJ Dillon, also a nice number 3 or number 4 guy, depending on where you put him with Gus Edwards. I still probably have him about 4 now that Gus Edwards is going to be the starter. Gus Edwards is probably the best value on the roster now at $1. So it turns out that was a nice pickup for $1, where all the rest of the league is kicking themselves for not jumping on that one. Really like DeAndre Swift this year. It's just whether or not Goff can throw him the ball out of the backfield, because his value will come with his PPR, with his reception points. At the wide receiver spot, we have a couple of really nice guys in DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper. Looks really nice there. Another thing about this roster, they had another running back trade away, got a couple extra first-round draft picks out of the deal, and crazy trade, but it is what it is. So this team also has a lot of future draft capital as well that other guys in the league don't have yet. Other receivers on this roster of note that are nice, we got Devontae Smith, Traquan Smith. Devontae Smith, probably the number 1 receiver for the Eagles. Traquan Smith is going to look really good, at least until Thomas comes back for the Saints. Emmanuel Sanders might put up some points this year. Jalen Waddle looks good so far for Miami. So there's some receivers here. This team definitely looks like a potential playoff team, and the addition of Gus Edwards into that running back mix definitely helps them more than looks better on paper than anything else. Did really good at tight end, grabbing George Kittle. Got Tyler Higbee and Blake Jarwin there, kind of loaded up at the position a little bit. So really nice team. This team's in good shape from top to bottom, and got pretty good depth. Also has a lot of draft capital for the future. So that looks really nice as well. So that is our number 6 team, Show Me the Money. And that's Barton's team coming in there. Number 5 is Hung Lake Hernandez, and this is Evan Barton. I'm sorry, I think I said Barton's wrong name earlier, and I apologize for that. He has little older quarterbacks, but he has superstar quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers might be the QB1 when all is said and done at the end of the year. Guy's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and I think him and what's his name there is going to Devontae Adams are going to blow up. Not that they don't blow up every year, 14 touchdowns, but I think we might be looking at like 18, 19 touchdowns this year for Devontae Adams. So I fully expect that to blow up. I think they want to do it together. I don't think it just wants to be Aaron Rodgers. So I think, you get the ball first and go on the 1. It's not Aaron Jones time. It's Devontae Adams first down, maybe second down, Aaron Jones on third down. So look for the Rodgers to really blow up. Third quarterback here is Cam Newton. Probably won't even play for this team. Not at all, maybe not even ever. Might end up getting cut by the end of next year. So who knows? Running back wise, Mike Davis on the roster, and hope he's a stud because he was expensive to get. and real expensive to get. Pairing him with the likes of Myles Gaskin, Najee Harris, Michael Carter, got some running backs. Got some running backs with questions. Got 2 rookies. You got a guy who, and Mike Davis, who had a good year last year with the Panthers. Whether or not you think he can do it again, I mean, he hasn't been great in his career. But even if he is, I believe that he's on the other side, the wrong side of what you're running back to be. Yeah, he's 28 years old. So definitely on the wrong side of where you want your running back to be as far as age. Myles Gaskin, you can't argue with the production because he keeps getting the touches. So, I don't mind Myles Gaskin. I definitely love Harris. Like Michael Carter. Wasn't fond of the Mike Davis trade, but got him now. So hopefully he's good. Wide receivers here, pretty good. Injury to Michael Thomas again. Guy last couple of years can't stay on the field. The sooner he gets back, the better this team is, because there are other receivers on this team that are good, that'll get them by. I really like a lot of this receiving core. Got Adam Thielen, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Odell Beckham, which I don't like, Corey Davis, which is looking fantastic in preseason. When I wrote this, I didn't put much stock into Corey Davis being any good, but he is looking really good. So, I mean, I have to take that back and take that into account as well. Robbie Anderson has Sam Darnold back. So there's some really good wide receivers here. Like I said, the question marks here are at the running back spot, the unknowns. But overall, I think it's a really good team. I would like it if this was my roster. It's a good roster. It's a good team. And I think this team, is going to be good in the future. Just don't count on having any first round draft picks for the next couple of years. Best part about the roster is his tight end spot, where he has Darren Waller, half the cost of Travis Kelce. Kelce comes in at $43. Waller's $21 and only scored like 40 points less. So sound 40 points is a lot, but not when it's half the cost. I mean, I think Darren Waller is going to blow it out again. Another 280, 300 point performance for the season. So Darren Waller should make up for any lacking inconsistencies at the running back position. Decent, really good wide receivers here. Great quarterback play. I mean, I think this is a playoff team. Hung like Hernandez coming in at the number 5 position. The number 4 team is the Low Expectations, and that's a great name for a team, having low expectations. The quarterback spot might be the weakest spot, but you still have Ryan Tannehill as the main guy, and I think he's going to do absolutely great. Then you got a couple of young guys for the future. You have Zach Wilson for the Jets and Tua for the Miami Dolphins. So love the quarterback spots for the future. And then really, really, really nice running back spots with Antonio Gibson and Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry they're still going to run the ball for long term. Derrick Henry probably doesn't have 4 or 5 years. He probably has like 2 to 3 at this pace at the most. But what really helped this running back grouping here was Sony Michelle going to the Rams. I think Sony Michelle becomes the number 1 running back for the Rams with the injury to Cam Akers. He's still going to split time. I don't think he has the durability to be an every down back, but Sony Michelle has put up some really good numbers when he's been the number 1 guy. So, and he also likes to catch the ball, is good at catching the ball. Stafford likes to throw to those running backs that catch the ball. So I think Sony Michelle going with Henry and Gibson is really nice. You also have Justice Hill in there. I don't know how far up the ladder he moves in the Baltimore backfield with the injury to J.K. Dobbins, but he's still on there, so it's definitely a possibility. Wide receiver wise, it's really nice that your number 1 guy is Tyreek Hill. And after that, it gets a little dicey, and that's the weak spot for this team is the receiving core. Jarvis Landry is the number 2. You got Keelan Cole, you have Deshaun Jackson, you have Sammy Watkins, guys that you can plug in and feel okay about starting, especially when you're starting Hill on one side. He'll put up 328 points in this format last year. So that's a really nice wide receiver 1 to get. And what is the nice bonus for this team is the tight end spot where they have that Travis Kelce. I mean, so you're starting the probably one of the top scoring running backs in Derrick Henry, one of the top scoring receivers in Hill, and now you have Kelsey as well. I think this team's going to put up quite a bit of points. Barring injuries, definitely a team that could make the playoffs. There's not a lot of depth, though. The depth drops off after your starting lineup. So you definitely need to stay attentive on the waiver wire and pick up guys that that produce on the waiver wire in order and cut the dead weight, or anybody that doesn't look like if it's going to be in your future, get rid of them. So that comes in with our number 4 team, our low expectations. Our number 3 team is the Miami Thunder. Quarterback Matt Stafford is probably going to be the starter for the early time, with Jalen Hurts as the backup. Third quarterback's Deshaun Watson. We'll have to wait and see what happens with there. But if Deshaun Watson is playing, Deshaun Watson elevates to the number 1 quarterback for this team. But when you have Stafford and Hurts, you're definitely okay with him not playing this year. If he has to sit out the year due to his legal troubles, if you want to say that's what it is, we'll have to wait and see on Deshaun Watson, see what that is. But Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts, perfect good. I have them both around the top 12, so I have 2 QB1s in that spot for them. So it's a nice problem to have without having to pay the upcharge on some of the costs. Running back team's in really good shape with Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor as their top 2 running backs, and the 3 and 4 are really nice as well with Miles Sanders and Kareem Hunt. Even getting Ramondre Stevenson as an RB5 is really nice. He's looked really good in the preseason. Chuba Hubbard might be a nice guy to have on the roster down the road should an injury happen to McCaffrey, and even guys like Tyson Williams, who's picked up as a free agent. He's as of right now is the RB2 in Baltimore. Anything can change in that. Dobbins just went down yesterday, so you never know where those chips are going to fall at. So really nice running backs situation here, along with a couple really good quarterbacks. Got to be a weakness somewhere. I think the receivers are very deep, very good, but again, maybe not lacking a little bit of that star power you want. Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb are probably your top 2. On the Tyler Lockett's in there as well. Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Laviska Shenault. So lots of players you can play. Michael Pittman and Jalen Reagor, even they didn't have stellar years last year. I expect the bounce backs from this year. Marquez Callaway is on the roster. He looked really good in the preseason game. Now that Jameis Winston's going to be the starter, so definitely got to watch out for a lot of these receivers. That this team has players that can play, score from anywhere on the field. So it's just they lack that Tyreek Hill name or the D-Hop and all them guys. So it doesn't have one of them big name guys. Probably Tyler Lockett, CeeDee Lamb might be your big name guys. And after that, you just got to watch and see who's producing. Tight end spot looks really good with Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert. So looks good at that position. So overall, very good team. That is our number 3 team, the Miami Thunder. The number 2 team, so look at this, Bobby Bunn Nemesis. And I don't believe I have Keegan ranked this high, but he did a really good job on the team. It's just whether or not he stays with it, because I've had Keegan in one of my leagues before, and he completely dismantled the team in like less than a year. So we'll see what he does with the team going forward. Has all young quarterbacks and guys that maybe not ranked in the top 10. So as far as quarterback goes, he's starting on the bottom end of the spectrum. I think Jameis Winston's the best one on the roster. He has Jared Goff and Daniel Jones as well, but he also has very young guys. So he only spent $7 total at the position. So it's nice to get those cheap guys, spend only $7 at the position, and that allows you to be able to go out and spend the money somewhere else. And that's what he did. Went out and got some really, 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 really good running backs. Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire has all 3 of them. That is a stellar backfield. Barring an injury, probably the best one in the league. Kamara and this scoring system was 378 last year. Dalvin Cook's 340. Edwards-Helaire was 176, and he hit that wall. I expect him to have a much better year. So even missed a couple games. So very stellar running backs. Not a lot of depth past those guys, though. Giovanni Bernard might be a nice play for $1. Got him for $1, and I think he's going to do well in Tampa. Wide receiver wise, you have A.J. Brown, who's listed in some rankings as the #1 overall Dynasty wide receiver. Mike Evans on the roster. So, you're starting those 3 backs, and then those 2 wide receivers. Team is going to be a load of points, Got to avoid the injury bug, though, because the depth is just not there for this roster. But we're ranking based on how well you think you can do with what you got. And with what they have here, I think this is a blow it out of the park offense that can score a lot of points. Some of those deeper teams definitely have, that have the depth, are hoping for injuries or hoping for guys to miss some time. So that they can take advantage of their lack of depth on their teams. Tight end wise, Austin Hooper might be that #1 guy. He has 4 tight ends, all paid $1 for all of them. So Austin Hooper, Chris Herndon, got to be weak somewhere. And tight end is definitely a place. This is a 1 tight end league, non-tight end premium. If you're going to punt somewhere, punt the tight end spot. So good job there. Loaded up at the running back spot. Got a couple top 6, top 7 wide receivers. So the #2 team is Bobby Bunn nemesis Keegan Jackson. Takes us to the #1 team in the league, and that's Bun in the oven. Josh Allen, the quarterback there. Josh Allen to me is my QB1. If I had to choose a quarterback, Josh Allen is who I want for his age, his feet, his arm, the whole 9 yards. I think he's a great quarterback. And I also, on top of that, he drafted Justin Fields. That's my boy. So you guys don't know I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So waiting on the wife to buy me a Justin Fields jersey for Christmas. If I don't get it by Christmas, I'll buy one in January. So love the quarterback spot there. Taysom Hill's the 3rd. I think Taysom Hill still might hold value. Even with Winston as the starter, I think they're going to play them both a little bit. So shouldn't have to play much on this roster anyway between the 2. Fields probably should take over by week 7. So shouldn't cause much issues for the Bun in the oven roster. The running back position, Zeke Elliott and Eckler are the top 2 horses. Can't do much better than them, and got really good deals on both of them. Elliott for 38 and Eckler for 23. Really nice values there. Got Daryl Henderson, who now, even though Sony Michelle's there, Daryl Henderson's going to be that split back guy. They thought he was going to be the 1 guy. I don't think he has the ability to be just a 1 back. I think neither him nor Sony can be a 1 back. I think they have to have a split. So he definitely holds value there. Ronald Jones is on this roster. Zach Moss is on this roster. Both those guys are probably the RB1s for their team for the moment. Timeshare guys, but they'll definitely get the points you need. Fill in on bye weeks, maybe even run a three back set if you want to. But the receivers on this team are really, really good as well. So the issue is going to be trying to figure out who to play. You're definitely starting Zeke. You're definitely starting Eckler. After that, you play matchups. You got lots of options. Get to the wide receiver. You have Devontae Adams, who, like I said earlier, I think blows it out of the park. We might be looking at an 18 touchdown day. If you get 18 touchdowns out of Devontae Adams, and you have Zeke and Eckler and Josh Allen, I mean, this team is going to score some points. So I don't even think you have to be deep to win with this roster, just having some of those names I mentioned, but he is deep. So that's what makes this the best team in the league for now. Outside of Devontae Adams, we have Chase Claypool, who did have an injury today. I don't know the extent or whatever. I watched my little TikToks, get all my little sports updates and on there. And I guess Chase Claypool had to be helped off the field. I don't know the extent of that injury, but if he's okay, that's a really nice #2. Cooper Kupp is a nice #2. Should Claypool have to miss any time? Rashad Bateman's on this team. He had an injury, so he might miss some time. So, those 2 injuries definitely hurt a little bit, but he's very deep. He's got Henry Ruggs. He's got Rondell Moore. He's got Elijah Moore, Dwayne Eskridge, who I think is going to might take over Lockett's spot next year. So team is very, very deep. You're looking 5 deep at running back. You're like 6, 7 deep at wide receiver. Really good roster. Get to the tight end. You got TJ Hawkinson as your 1, Freiermuth, Troutman, both young guys as your 2, 3. So definitely did a really good job drafting. It's not hard to see that this team is going to be one of the ones that's going to be tough to beat. Definitely that is the number 1 team in the league for the Losers Dynasty League. So that is bun in the oven. So that is the completion of our 12-1 countdown to the preseason rankings for the Losers Dynasty League. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to keep these videos up in the future. I also would not mind having this is done on a Zoom, so we definitely can pull someone up on here with me, and we can actually have a conversation about rankings weekly if we want to do that. So if anybody's interested in getting in and co-hosting on a podcast like this to make these videos, I put it up on my YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel, Richard Keck, All Things Fantasy Football. Please like and subscribe to that page, because my kids make fun of me for only having 10 subscribers. So they're like, you have 14 people in each league. Why do you not have more subscribers? So please go and subscribe to the page. You will see videos from other leagues as well. You don't have to watch those, obviously, but you can if you want to. My earlier videos, probably not as good as I think I'm getting a little better at these. It's hard to talk to yourself. But if anybody's interested in being co-hosts and getting in on this with me, let me know. So that is all I have for today. Thanks for listening, guys. Richard Keck, All Things Fantasy Football. Have a great day.